Ultimate Club for life.
Week 4. It's over. Clearly, Stacks won this week, as you guys can see here. You had to make someone from DC or Image Comics. It had to be a 6 cost, and you had to make a special location. It couldn't be just a typical wild location. So we got Ocean Master and Atlantis. Ocean Master is a 6/8. Him being a 6 drop, I think there's less instances where you're gonna tap your 6 drop to rise Atlantis, right? Especially because then he doesn't benefit from the Berserker. I mean, it's reasonably statted. It's got like a really strong power and a decent power. And like I've talked about like previous weeks, I like when you can have a card that you're like, you can see like archetypes that already exist that could fit with this, or you can find archetypes that don't necessarily work right now that like this would make stronger, right? So like this would be really good in a any deck that has Fing Fang Foom, whether it's the 8-drop Foom or it's the main character Foom, because like pulling everyone up front and then like giving all the minus counters to everyone is decent. And then like 8-drop Foom, you put everyone in the front and then like shrink them all, and then Foom kills them all, right? Strong card. Like, this is a really strong card. Gertrude, I have no idea what this character is from. I love this artwork though, it's hilarious. And it's an angry berserker. So has to attack first if able and gets the +1/+1 counter. So essentially it's a 10/6. That's it. You fluffing fluffer. Pay a might during combat. She gets +6. And if she stuns a character, she may ready, which is pretty good because she's basically like, if you can, well, I get no, like the angry kind of like counteracts that, right? If you can find a way to like make sure she doesn't get stunned off that first attack and you can re-ready her, then she can be like an 11/7. As far as angry goes, is angry big enough of a drawback to justify that? I'm not sure, but I don't think like I think it's a fine stat line. It's a funny card, that's for sure. I like this power a lot. You can like really punish bad formations from your opponent's side. Fairyland. Okay. During your build, you may pay any amount of resource recruit points to put Fairyland counters on this card. During your build phase, you may turn this location face down. If you do, spin those counters to reduce the cost of the next supporting character or equipment. So that's not team stamped, right? So you can use this literally on anyone. That's like really too strong. I think you have to limit this to a team. If you played this on one, you could like rush out a DP on like turn 4 or 5, right? Just like anybody could. I like what you were going for there. Like it's supposed to like interact with her. Man, playing her on turn 3 would be kind of insane. Like, but that would be your first play. So I see what you're doing there though. Like you're trying to like, if you have to off drop, the idea of the card is you take your like non-spent points for the turn and like dump them into Fairyland, and eventually you'll get your payback off of it later. And I like that. I think it needs to be like limited some way. The Batman, world's greatest detective. When Batman appears, name any card. Choose an enemy player to reveal their hand and remove each card with that name from the game. It works well with Batman too, because like I feel like Robbie would like these kind of effects where he's trying to like think through what's in your hand anyway. Just from the few games I've got to watch him play, like on commentary and stuff. So that makes sense. It's a cool power. You get like rewarded for playing things like Ronin or Mole Man or Daredevil. And then you get Smoke Bomb. Any turn combat for a skill, you can cancel the combat. So This would pair really well with like if the Justice League had like an 8-drop Superman, right? Because then you could like try to protect him for a turn with the smoke bomb and whatever else, and then like drop your Batman or Captain Marvel or Shazam or whatever, right? Yeah, Combat Master is really strong. Your stat line seems fine. This is a pretty good card. The Hall of Justice. Okay. Asylum. When you play this location, choose a character on your side. They gain the Justice League team affiliation. If they are already a Justice League, put a +1/+1 counter on them instead. Interesting. Okay. I like it's like a kind of a team up. During your build phase, your main character may pay a yellow. If it does, turn this location face down. Search your deck for a Justice League supporting character, reveal it, and put in your hand. In the game right now, like this bottom ability is enough to make it playable because it always sucks to miss your drops. And so, like, this would make a mono thing really strong, huh? I don't know, Robbie, man. Like, yeah, you can bring up some good points. Pretty good card. Stack's card stronger than your card. Maybe that's what it was. Not pushed enough, Batman. All right, we have Arkham Asylum Clayface. 6 costs 0, 13, 2. Thicken the thighs and thicken the waist. Right. Molding clay. Okay, so hold on. First off, once per turn during combat, Clayface can convert up to 12 of his defense to attack until the end of turn. I like that he has to like make that choice and then like he can't change it. That's pretty cool. When he appears and at the start of each main phase, you may choose an enemy supporting character. Clayface gains the chosen character's name, keywords, and superpowers. And his base attack and defense becomes equal to that character's until the end of the turn. But he doesn't lose this other ability. Interesting. So like if you took a Foom, like if he like came out, became a Foom, he could just be like a what is Foom? A Foom's a 14/14, right? So you could become like a 26/2 and just bust a whole row. That might be a little strong. Like I think you might want to like lose this ability in that maybe. Man, Clayface is just like this could have been just a molding clay character. Although it's only until the end of the turn, so like you can't do it on the defense. Man, I would have loved this character if it was just molding clay, or if like this was just like on your opponent's turn or something. Man, I really like this card though. I like Clayface though, so like it's a little skewed in that too, I guess. That I know the flavor of this character more than either you don't get it for free, or you can get it for free and you don't search for it. You just have to drop something out of your hand. So then you're like penalizing yourself early, like with hand advantage, card advantage, and then like it comes back, and then you get that advantage back later, like as a payoff, right? I just think like in my brain it just makes more sense if you had to pay for it, because like dropping like 2 7-drops or 2 8-drops on a turn, just like imagine like going like turn 8, here's my Thanos and here's my like onslaught, right? Like how is your opponent gonna recover from that? Like realistically, either you don't get it for free, or you can get it for free and you don't search for it. You just have to drop something out of your hand. So then you're like penalizing yourself early, like with hand advantage, card advantage, and then like it comes back, and then you get that advantage back later, like as a payoff, right? I just think like in my brain it just makes more sense if you had to pay for it, because like dropping like 2 7-drops or 2 8-drops on a turn, just like imagine like going like turn 8, here's my Thanos and here's my like onslaught, right? Like how is your opponent going to recover from that? Like realistically, either you don't get it for free, or you can get it for free and you don't search for it. You just have to drop something out of your hand. So then you're like penalizing yourself early, like with hand advantage, card advantage, and then like it comes back, and then you get that advantage back later, like as a payoff, right? I just think like in my brain it just makes more sense if you had to pay for it, because like dropping like 2 7 drops or 2 8 drops on a turn, just like imagine like going like turn 8, here's my Thanos and here's my like onslaught, right? Like how is your opponent going to recover from that? Like realistically, either you don't get it for free, or you can get it for free and you don't search for it. You just have to drop something out of your hand. So then you're like penalizing yourself early, like with hand advantage, card advantage, and then like it comes back, and then you get that advantage back later, like as a payoff, right? I just think like in my brain it just makes more sense if you had to pay for it, because like dropping like 2 7 drops or 2 8 drops on a turn, just like imagine like going like turn 8, here's my Thanos and here's my like onslaught, right? Like how is your opponent going to recover from that? Like realistically, Ocean is bad. Like Gutrid, and I'm not a big Batman fan. I know I'm going to get like flamed out of existence for that. I know his lore though. Like I don't understand. I don't know her like flavor, right? Like the Clayface flavor on Molding Clay is just so good that I'm just like in love with that power. Man, this card's sweet though. I like this card a lot. Arkham Asylum. When it appears, search your deck for an evil supporting character and place them in lockup. During your recruit step, you may choose an inmate whose cost is equal to or less than the number of resources on your side. Put that inmate into play for free. This power cannot be used on a turn the location comes into play. So you can't just like search up a 6-drop, put it under. I assume the inmate is what's locked up underneath Arkham Asylum. The way this is worded, you play it for free. You don't have to pay for it. So you could just like drop 2 6-drops on turn 6. Like just double dropping on a turn seems like ridiculously strong, right? Either you don't get it for free, or you can get it for free and you don't search for it. You just have to drop something out of your hand. So then you're like penalizing yourself early, like with hand advantage, card advantage, and then like it comes back, and then you get that advantage back later, like as a payoff, right? I just think like in my brain it just makes more sense if you had to pay for it, because like dropping like 2 7-drops or 2 8-drops on a turn, just like imagine like going like turn 8, here's my Thanos and here's my like onslaught, right? Like how is your opponent going to recover from that? Like realistically, we got Monique. Here's Ben's book and a half. Yep. All right. Oh, good Lord. Oh yeah, because he's got some other cards and okay. Whew. All right, here we go. Talking to herself. 6-drop 9/3. Talking to herself. When Michonne appears, you may, if you control no survivors, put Mike and Terry into play. And this is Mike, and this is Terry. Those are her walker buddies. I did fencing when I was in college. She is ferocious and lethal. Walker passive escort. Enemy characters cannot attack Michonne. Okay, so you have to kill the walkers. So she comes out and she's the only survivor. She gets her walkers and her Texas Rangers. This 3 is kind of deceptive because it's you got to kill 2 things before that she can protect before you can even attack her. Elodie. Elodie? Am I saying that right? Supporting character token. Wait, where's this token coming from? Let's figure out where this token's coming from. I assume it's this. Biter token. Okay, hold on. During your main phase, but not during combat, you may exhaust a Walking Dead character. If you do, choose a survivor and put them into play. There we go. So how many survivors do we have? We have 1, 2. So 2 of them. No, this one's not a survivor. How am I supposed to get this card out? Is this supposed to be I assume this is supposed to be a survivor, right? When she appears, Michonne loses. I did fencing while I was in college. Her base attack and defense become 3-9, and she gains legal practice. Main. Choose an enemy character. Michonne may pay any number of intellect to remove that character from the game. The chosen character may pay the same amount of intellect to cancel this effect. So this card completely changes this card. It takes away again, and remember, I mentioned this earlier. If you lose this power, you lose the lethal and ferocious. So, like, I was already there. We were already there. He already had thought of that. There was a reason for that. Interesting card. Man, there's a lot going on here. Okay, I'm hoping that this guy brings out the biter. Appears you move him to the enemy side. If you do, he gains lumbering and stupid. Why would I do that? What is the benefit of that? There are so many piles on this card. This has got some layers. When an infectious biter strikes a supporting character, they are infected. If a character is stunned by an infection, KO them, and a random walker appears on your side. All right, so we got to play on Fluke Man, right? I like that. Interesting though, because if this is only a 1/1, so if the infection isn't, like, if the biter's not in play when that character KOs, you wouldn't actually get the walker. Oh man, this is a lot. This is a lot going on. I don't even know how to unpack all this. Jackson Dane. He's a 7/5 berserker with 3 health. I'm not gonna knock you for these stats. But we do have flight, range, and 3 wounds with that stat line. So, like, you are on the stronger side of the drop range with 1, 2, and 3 health. Like, 2 powers to 3 health. When a Team 7 supporting character is recruited, they gain either +1 defense or +1 attack for each other Team 7 supporting character on your side. So there's a synergy to the Team 7s here. Golden Cybonosis. +1/+1 counters can't be reduced or removed even when stunned. So it's Symbiosis Plus is what we got here. So, like, if you have a plus counter, you can't receive any negative counters at all. Like, you can't be lightning bolted. While Jackson Dane is face up, enemy players cannot play locations with the intellect symbol. So it kind of, some layers here. So I don't know. Flight and range with the 3 wounds and the stat line might be a little much. If he attacks once, he can't be lightning bolted. He can't be latent mutationed because he can't reduce or remove those counters. So, like, they would negate each other. Like, you would, like, if a character has +1/+1 counters and -1 counters, you remove both. MCAGCC. I don't know what that stands for. I'm gonna assume Mega Colonel Agony Goliath Capital Commanders. Yep, that's what that stands for. Anyone at home? Geo4 Suicide Mission. Reaction. When a Team 7 supporting character is KO'd, your main character may pay a might. If it does, turn this location down. You may remove that supporting character from the game at the start of its owner's next turn. Put that character on their side in the front row with 1 remaining health. Interesting. So it's kind of like a reaction Titan. That's team stamped. So, interesting. We've got Muhammad Ali. He's part of humanity. This card is really good. Look how well thought out this card is. Like, he even put AKA Cassius Clay. Like, this card is Fearless Duck. How did this card not win? This card's amazing. So this is my card for the week. All right, so Muhammad Ali, he's a 6'9". He has Fearless and Duck. For those who don't remember, Duck is when the character gets attacked, you can exhaust them, and they cannot be struck during that combat. But it's kind of like the old bob and weave, you know. He has Float Like a Butterfly. Whenever he strikes an enemy character, you may move him to another row, so he can float up, float back, you know. And he stings like a bee. He puts those negative counters on people that he strikes. Kind of wears them down. Very boxer-esque. We got the boxing ring, which has Under the Red Sun Lamps reaction. When a character on your side enters melee combat, you may exhaust this location. If you do, all non-humanity characters, because remember, humanity characters are characters who are not, they're just humans, they don't have actual powers. In combat, lose and cannot gain keywords and superpowers. The thought behind this was I wanted a card that could be played off team, but like then if it was played off team, it was a symmetrical effect. 9-4 range. Stealth shot. Pay a red, I assume, during the main. And she strikes a character, and then you hide her. Ooh, goodness gracious. When she appears, choose an enemy row. Freeze each character on that row. Holy cow. This card is insane. Theft by air. Let's take a look at this location. During your main phase, but not during combat. Your main character may pay any power symbol. If it does, turn this location face down and then move an enemy equipment to one of your characters. So this is an any team non-stamped grid. This card's crazy strong. This is an interesting card. It's because it's a grid. But it's interesting because it's like there are a few like not staple, but highly played equipments like Nullifier, Serpent Crown. This would be a card that was maybe a 2 of in decks that it got played in. Okay, so Frostbomb. The way I would tweak this if I had the option to tweak it, right? It would be like a Formation Matters card where you pick a character and then it and the characters to the left and right of it get frozen. So that you're not doing a whole row, but 3 characters is potentially a whole row also. So it's it does what you want it to do, but it also doesn't necessarily do what you want it to do. Yeah, just a little on the strong side. I think with those minor tweaks, though, it could be fine. Le Martian Manhunter. What is his name? Oh, yeah, there it is. John Jones. Martian Manhunter can't strike or be struck during the first combat each turn. Okay, so you can't attack him first, but he also can't attack first. Martian Manhunter cannot move to enemy sides. So telepathic mastery. So he can't be Serpent Crowned. He can't be Purple Manned. He can't be, I'm sure there's something else that I'm forgetting that takes control of your opponent's guy. Professor Xaviered. Shape-shifting detective. Any combat for a intellect or a might, choose an enemy supporting character in combat. Martian Manhunter. Space attack and defense become the same as that character's printed based on attack this combat. It's interesting choice of power for his stat line. And of course Mars. He's from Mars. Searching for family. Draw a card, or during the draw phase, your main character may pay a energy. If it does, turn this location face down. Then choose exactly 2 cards in your KO pile with the same name and shuffle them into your deck. Reveal each card you draw and draw 1 extra card during your draw phase until you draw a card with the same name as the ones that you shuffled into your deck. Drawing 3 cards a turn and your opponent having no way to stop it. That's true. You do still have to reveal every card you draw forever. I'm okay with that. I'm having trouble because, like, man, just like it's a hard way to like really abuse it. Does Mars stack? It would stack. Yeah. Like if you had like 3 of them in play, you would draw 3 extra cards until you drew. Like they would have different characters attached to them, right? Like different names attached to them. Unless you found ways to like get around that. Like if you did the Ahura thing, right? And you could get around that and just like make it so you're drawing 3, 5, 6 cards a turn. So I like it. Like I like drawing cards, and I'll show you my cards all day if I get to draw a million billion cards. So I like the card's interesting for sure. I think this is a card that a lot of people wouldn't play initially, and then they would see how some people are using it, and then all of a sudden like would jump up and play ability. I think it would take people seeing the power of this card before it saw more play. Danny the Street. He is a location and a character. It's one of a kind. Everyone is welcome. Danny the Street is when Danny the Street is in your resource row, you may put a card from your hand underneath him. When you have enough resources, you may recruit Danny the Street from your resource row. So you actually lose a resource this way because you don't replace it. And then for an Earth, when Danny the Street is in your front or back row, so he has to actually be a character at this point, put a character from under Danny the Street into play. This does not count as being recruited. There's a lot going on here. It's interesting. One of a kind, so like the earlier you draw him and the longer you can keep him alive, the better he is. Obviously you're wanting to cheat in like something decently big, right? Like a 7 or 8, maybe a 9. Like you wouldn't get the recruit trigger off of Dark Phoenix, which I think is a smart choice, but 0-9's fine stat line, 2 health, gives him a little staying power so that he can maybe get his power off twice. Like there's no timing on it, so there's no like during your main phase once per turn kind of thing. During my main phase, can I just like shovel a bunch of cards underneath it? That's true. Whether it needs to be restricted or not, I don't know. Probably not, because you can only use the Earth ability once per turn. I mean, I really like the idea of a location and a character. That's pretty neat. Alright, so we have Beast Boy. 6 costs 5/5, so understat it with 2 health. When Beast Boy attacks or defends, he gets put a +1/+1 counter. So he has Berserker. Okay, so he has he's got the when he attacks or defends, he gets a counter. Reaction for a Might. When Beast Boy attacks or defends, remove a +1/+1 counter. And you can replace Beast Boy with a transformation card. 1, 2, 3. Oh, another Danny the Street. It's interesting. I just saw that Danny the Street that 2 people did this. Again, I think it's a decently obscure character. So we either become a bird, a monkey, or a tiger. All right, so Beast Boy cannot be melee attacked. Interesting. Now that wouldn't cancel combat, so that's good. That could be a little strong. It's like if your opponent doesn't have any range attackers, you could just like turn off Be like, okay, I'll turn into this one, figure out a way out of this attack, and then you can't attack anymore this turn. During your main, you can pay a red and exhaust Beast Boy and choose a character on your side. That character goes into combat with a enemy character. After that combat ends, replace Beast Boy with a transformation token with Beast Boy support character. So he turns back into this. So this is like in the comics, I'm sure, or in the show. If you watch Teen Titans Go, where he picks up Cyborg and drops him on someone, right? Like, that's what's kind of going on here. Man, he is resource hungry. All right, we got the gorilla got Berserker. He's got Gorilla Strength Combat. Double Beast Boy's current attack or defense until the end of combat. After that combat ends, replace Beast Boy with transformation token with the Beast Boy, so he goes back. So you can make him like a 14 attack. That seems pretty reasonable. And then you've got the Saber-Tooth Tiger. So back to paying a red. Man, he's so hungry for resources, though. He has stealth for his turn. Or for his next attack. At the end of the turn, replace Beast Boy. Transformation, because he goes back. So he's got Ferocious. Man, he's like a Swiss Army knife, but he's so hungry. He's a little understated for me, honestly. I understand he gains and loses counters a lot. I just feel like his stat line's a little on the low side. I feel like you could have beefed him up a little bit. It's a cool card. I like where you're going with it. I just think he's a little on the weaker side. All right. Oh, we got two more Danny's in the streets. Supporting character and the special location both are Danny the Street. So we have one of a kind and mobile passive safeguard. So this is a 0/9 that you can't attack anything else in his row until he's dead. When you recruit Danny the Street, you may search your deck for a location with Danny in the name and put it on your side. Also one of a kind Danny the Street. When this location appears on your side, you may search your deck and KO pile for a supporting character named Danny the Street and add it to your hand. So this card searches this one searches this one. At the end of your turn, a supporting character on your side named Danny the Street may pay an energy. If they do, return or remove them and each character in their row from the game, but they keep all their counters, so it's a singularity until this location leaves play or till your next turn. So it's a singularity. It's interesting. This is an interesting card. I don't think it's I think it's fine. I think it's a little on the weaker side, honestly. Singularity for a whole row is pretty good. Singularity is a good card. That's usually what you're doing with Singularity anyway. So if you play this support character though, right? Yeah, no, you could dramatic entrance this in for +1 location, but on the flip side, you could dramatic entrance in Mantis for +1 ramp, right? Or a Jungle Hunter and get any location, right? What are you getting out of dramatic entrancing this in? This location that then does nothing? Death Blow. Gen Factor Regeneration. At the start of your turn, heal a wound from Death Blow. This power remains on while he's face down. Ultimate Sacrifice. Combat Pain Earth. Choose one. KO an enemy supporting character in combat or stun an enemy main character in combat, then KO Death Blow. Well, okay, so let's start with this. Your stat line's kind of small. So I guess the fact that he can never die unless he gets lethal is fine. Or he's ultimate sacrificed, right? I initially read this, I'm like, man, that seems really strong, or overly strong. But your stat line's kind of, so it's not a huge deal. Although on the flip side, you just put him down as a melee attacker, and he's just gonna never lose a 6 attack attacker. That's kind of wild. It might be a little too strong. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this card. Because your stat line is a good sacrifice for a pretty strong power, though. So I'm not saying he's too strong. I'm not saying that he's just right. I'm just saying that it's hard without actually getting into a game and playing with the card to judge, for me personally, to judge how strong this card is. So we got the weapons cache. Stockpile. Equipment without one of a kind on your side, in your hand, in your deck, in your KO pile, have the Team 7 affiliation. So this is going to be a cable power, right? The MC cable where all your equipment have X-Men without having to pay for it. During your build phase, a Team 7 character on your side can pay a skill and turn this down to search your deck for a equipment without one of a kind, reveal it, put in your hand. Interesting. To really get the mileage out of this, you'd have to have 2 of these in play so that you could pay and go search for random equipment here, power loader, right? And then you couldn't play it unless you had a weapons cache face up or you had the company character. So I like this card. This card I like a lot. Seems fine. I like that you left the one of a kind cards out because those cards shouldn't. I mean I shouldn't say shouldn't be searchable, but I think they should be. You have to watch how searchable all your one of a kind cards are because they're one of a kind because they have a higher power cap, right? Indigo 1. Is this is one of the lanterns, right? The purple lanterns are. What are the purple lanterns powered by? I can't remember. Someone in chat help me out. I know like red's like blood, yellow's fear, black lanterns are death. I thought blue was hope. What are purple? What are the purple lanterns? Is this even a lantern? First off, am I just stupid? Someone help me out. Love? Question mark? I don't know. Passion. Okay. 6-7 flight range, 1 health, so your stat line's fine. I like the stat line here. At the start of your main phase, you may copy on power. 1 power or keyword on a character on either field. Okay, so you can, at the start of your main phase. Okay, the wording on this is a little weird. So if I understand this right, I think the intent of the card was at the start of your main phase, you can take a copy, you can take a power from anything on the board, right? I think we need like a time frame though. Like how long does she keep? Does she keep the power forever? That could be dangerous. Like you could do camouflage, and then like if she keeps it forever, then you can start putting on whatever stupid Cinder Kelly's power is, right? Or like, so was it intended to be forever? I'm not sure. Okay, Indigo teleportation. If Indigo's central power battery is face up on your side, I'm assuming that's going to be the location. In your resource row, you may remove a character from the game with all of its equipment and counters until the start of its owner's next main step. So this is a Alcatraz-esque ability. It's a Space Gem power. Space Gem. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know if this was intended to keep forever or not. But if it's... Man. And then you can like start stacking the same power multiple times. This doesn't have a timing thing either. I just read this again. When? Like it doesn't have when does this trigger? We don't have a when this triggers. All right, so this is the central power battery. It's one of a kind. Prison planet. If a supporting character has been removed from the game by Indigo teleportation, right there, you may leave it removed from the game until bro. broken. Yes, broken. How is your opponent going to turn this down? Because I'm just using this, and I'm removing my main character from the game. Right? Or no, if you remove your opponent's main character from the game, they lose. Because they don't have an MC at the... How does that work? I think you could just kill your opponent with this, if they don't have a way to turn it down. There's not a restriction to what she can remove now, and there's no timing on it. So I'm not sure when you're supposed to be able to do it. She just keeps removing stuff. She just keeps putting things in this... It's a prison pocket? I see what we're trying to do here. But you need to build in like some way for your opponent to interact with this, right? I see what you're going for here, though. There was a couple things here that confused me. A little disconnect. One Mr. Freeze. Arnold. 5'8". He has freeze. The Iceman cometh. He cannot be affected by freeze. Let's kick some ice. Mr. Freeze stuns a supporting character in melee combat that is affected by frozen, or that is frozen. I don't think it should be affected by freeze. It should be like that is frozen, right? Or am I wrong there? I could be wrong there. I don't know. That might be worded correctly. KO it instead. So he has lethal against frozen targets. Ice to meet you. I'm pretty sure that's a line from the Batman movie. I'm pretty sure Arnold says that. If Mr. Freeze would strike a defender in range combat, freeze that character instead. Oof. That seems like a rough day for Foom, huh? This seems fine. It seems pretty balanced. It's like this card seems like annoying to play against. This card's dope. This card's really good. Snowy Cones, Ice Cream Factory. Allow me to break the ice. During the build phase, when an enemy character is affected by freeze, your main character may pay a energy. If it does this turn this location face down and then freeze all other characters in that row. Holy cow. That's really strong, but it does cost you 2 location slots. Like you have to pay the blue and pay the snowy cone. Ooh, we got the fastest man alive, Barry Allen. 6'6", so kind of he's decently statted, not crazy. Running back in time, double blue. Put Flash into your side. You may pay 6. You must pay 6 recruit points the next time able. Uses power only while Flash is in your hand. So I can play this 6/6 on turn 1, and then never have to pay for him because I never play a 6 resource. Flash has dodge and strikes before each other character in combat. Man, this just screams aggro deck. Like I'm playing this thing on turn 1 and just smacking you and just saying, okay, deal with it. That might be a little too strong. Maybe not though. I don't know. And he has dodge. And he strikes before each other character in combat. How on earth? I just reread Speedster. How, if you play this on turn 1, how is your opponent dealing with it? They have to be playing dogs. They have to have exactly dogs to deal with this thing if you play this on turn 1. Because you can't range attack it, and he always punches first. And they're going to, like, what, team attack into him? He's going to punch your biggest thing, kill it, and then, like, you have a plot twist or something? Play solo into Flash and have a 7/7 who can't be range attacked. He always hits first, and then he's just going to keep going? Like, I understand what you were going for here. It's just, like, this ability on top of this ability is just, like, holy cow, it's too much. He's too fast and too furious, you know what I'm saying? Alright, Speed Force. At the end of your turn, a speedster on your side may pay any power symbol for this. If he does, turn this location face down, remove that character from the game with its counters at the start of its owner's next turn. Put it back on its side with 2 additional counters. This just makes Barry Allen faster and stronger and better. Like, anytime you could like this could just be with the speedster keyword of having dodge and always hitting first. Anything you put that on that has speedster is going to be pretty strong, right? What? How do you say that? Larfleeze? Is that how you say that? Am I saying this correctly? Me, myself, and I. Large Fleas is the only face-up character on your side. He gets +4/+4. A 9/9 flight, range 3 health. So he's the only one. +4/+4. So he's basically a 13/13 flight range. Holy moly, that is statted. Build mine. Choose a face-up resource in an opponent's resource row and move it to your resource row face up. Mine. If he would get KO'd, if he would KO a character while in combat, move that character to your side face up. This is strong. This is crazy strong. What's his location? Space sector forbidden. Can only be on your side if your main character named Larfleeze or is a porno character. Okay, so you can only have this if he is your main character or if he's in your deck, and this only produces a resource for him. Okay, here's my issue. Minor. If you're on the play with this guy, turn 6, you play him. You do or don't find a way to make him the only face-up character. Doesn't matter. He's a 9/9 flight range. You take one of your opponent's resources, and they go back down to 4. So they have to play a 5-drop into the 6-drop. And the 3 wounds, they don't have to deal with it once. They have to deal with it 3 times after the next, because the following turn, you're going to play an 8-drop. Right? Because you were on 6, you stole one of their resources, put you to 7. Play a resource, you're playing an 8-drop. And stealing another one of their resources. They're playing a 5-drop into your 6-drop 9/9 and into your 8-drop. Here's my issue with this card. It shouldn't have been a 6-drop. If this card was an 8-drop, having this style of power and this style of like 3 health and being like overstated, I don't think it would have raised as many eyebrows. I think this power takes it over. The taking their resource. Holy crap, that's a build phase power too. So I was wrong. So if you have 2 oranges, right? You get to, on turn 6, put them down to 5 resource, or back down to 4, and then they're going to be at 5 resources again the next turn, and you're at 7. On your turn, you get to do that. You get to play a resource, do that again, and you could actually play a 9-drop. So you could go this into orange, Dark Phoenix. So like, I think the issue with this is that we run into is that this character, like as a character, should just be a higher drop, because like I think he fits, like he's supposed to be bigger than your average guy, like thematically, right? And like, because he's the only one, and he's taking everything, he wants everything. But I don't think this is a character that can fit into a 6-drop mold. I just think this is an 8-drop. Like, if this is an 8-drop 12/12, this is golden. Man, if this is an 8-drop, this is it, man. This is a super sweet 8-drop. Who's winning this week if I'm picking? If I'm picking this week, Mr. Freeze is up there for me. Stacks' card's up there for me. Clayface is up there for me. I really enjoyed Clayface. Batman was pretty good. I'd give it to Freeze this week. It's a dope card. You know what? Screw it. You know what? Mr. Freeze doesn't win this week. Muhammad Ali wins this week.